everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Mad City, brought to us by Konami. Now, Mad City was brought over to North America and released as The Adventures of Bayou Billy. However, when it was brought over to North America, there were some major game changes. While most of the levels remained intact, they actually made the levels easier, changing up some of the designs and even changing up some of the lengths of the stages. The game also featured multiple endings, which were also removed from the North American version. While the game remained the same in many different ways when it was brought over to North America, it's still fun to look at Mad City and see how much was actually changed when the game was brought over. So here we go with Mad City for the Famicom. The title screen is pretty much the same game modes at least. They did make the screen blue, as well as add a gun to the title at the top of the screen. Also, they switched up Game A and Game B. Instead of Game A being the light gun, it is now the controller, and Game B is now the light gun version of the game. Also, at the beginning of each stage, they no longer tell you what kind of controller you're going to be using, whether it's the controller or the light gun, no matter which version of the game you're playing. You'll notice right at the start that the enemies are actually different color. Instead of wearing blue jackets, the first few enemies of the game are wearing green jackets. They are much easier and actually only take 2 hits with the jump kick to take them out. So, instead of really trying to walk around and dodge them and trying to get them stuck in this version of the game, most of the enemies you can take on head-on. The first Gator Pond is extremely different. They added lots of different island masses so that you can jump across and get across easier, as well as all the alligators pretty much get stuck amongst the islands and don't end up chasing you and do no damage to you. While enemies are much easier, it's still fun to use the stick to take out a lot of the enemies, though the best weapon in the game that we get later on, the whip, is actually weaker than the normal attacks it seems. Even though the game is easier, they still give you a good amount of extra health pickups to fully replenish your health when needed. Be careful of the enemies that they can do some damage, including the big guys that will pick up rocks and try to throw them at you. Just like Bayou Billy, the red guys are a lot faster than the normal enemies, but they still take as many shots just about as the green guys. There are some variants, as you may notice, that the green guys will sometimes take 4 hits instead of 2, but that's only a handful of them. In the next set of water, instead of dealing with alligators that you have to fight, you end up fighting 2 of the scuba diver guys. They only take 2 hits, and for the most part they walk so slow you should have no problem hitting them. The scuba diver on the right side has a bulletproof vest, so if you got a gun from one of the other scuba divers, don't try to shoot him with it. Instead, hit him a few times, then knock that vest off of him, and then finish him off. After that, you can use the gun ammo that you've picked up in order to take out the big heavy guy who's also in the water. There's another one coming up just one screen over, and you also want to use it if you can on the scuba divers if you have enough ammo. Just be sure not to shoot one of the guys who's wearing white in the scuba outfit, meaning he has one of those bulletproof vests on. After all that is said and done, quickly run across the water, once again filled with lots of different islands to try to aid you in stopping the alligators from being able to nip at you. If you move quickly, they may get you a couple of times, but not nearly as bad as they would in the original Bayou Billy. Once you reach the end though, walk a little bit, and you've completed Stage 1. Stage number 2, as well as stage number 7, the 2 light gun levels, which we'll be controlling once again with the D-pad instead, are pretty much unchanged. While the enemies may be a little bit easier to shoot, I'm not positive on that, as well as you may take less damage, overall the exact same strategies as well as length of the level is the exact same. One of the key things you really have to worry about is try to aim at any enemy who stands still for a few seconds and points their gun at you, and be sure to take out any of the enemies that's hiding under water or behind trees or in the brush before they end up launching one of the bazooka shots at you. By killing them, they usually always drop an item, which may be a red star which kills everything on screen, or they may drop some extra health, extra bullets, or bulletproof vest, which in this version, the bulletproof vest will actually blink on the top right corner of the screen, making a rather annoying chime sound over and over again, while also making you completely invulnerable for a few seconds. The boss is also pretty much unchanged. You have a large helicopter which is firing at you, and dropping soldiers you'll have to deal with as well. The army soldier guys can be real annoying, and they're your real threat as they do a lot of damage to you quickly. However, I do think you do lose less health in this version of the game. As long as you have a good amount of health, you can focus more on the helicopter than the guys, but if you're at about halfway, try to go back and forth between both the soldiers and the copter until it's taken care of. Once it's done, you complete the stage and we move on to level 3. In Mad City, level 3 is extremely short. You still have your items from stage number 1 that you can use, including your weapons. You start off with 2 of the red guys that you have to take care of, and they only take a couple of hits with the stick to beat. Once you're done with them though, it's time already for the boss battle. The boss is the exact same, except he has a lot less health to deal with. I like to get in close and start hitting him immediately with a couple of my drop kicks. Don't use your weapon on him because the stick will break instantly if you try to hit him while he still has the bulletproof vest on. Keep doing your jump kicks and you should be able to deplete his health rather fast. Every time you do a drop kick or two, you may want to move a step or two away from him, giving you a better shot instead of being grabbed and thrown about. Once you beat him though, that's already the end of stage 3. Stage number 4 and 5 are on the roads traveling to New Orleans to save Annabelle. They are a little bit different than the ones from Adventures of Bayou Billy. As you can see, the timer actually is completely different, having a very large timer that actually counts down by the thousands instead of just by the seconds. You still have your gun as well as your dynamite you can throw out to take out airborne enemies. However, most of the airborne enemies are going to fly across the sides of the road when they drop their bombs, so they never come directly in the center of the road and should be able to dodge almost all of them easily. The turns during the driving stage are also much easier. There's no tight turns to worry about, so you don't have to worry about hitting trees or pillars on the side of the road, because there really is no threat of you losing control of the Jeep. One of the annoying things to deal with though is this golden Jeep. You can't destroy it with your gunfire, at least I've never been able to get enough shots in to destroy it. And it constantly comes back and forth, moving from the left side then to the right. All you have to really worry about is when it comes all the way back on the left and right side that you're not directly under it, so it doesn't blow you up. Everything else in the area isn't an instant kill, but he is. As you can see, you actually have a health bar instead of just a one-hit kill during the driving stages of Mad City. Stage number 5 is the second driving level, and it's pretty much just as easy as the first one. You do have to deal with a red car this time instead of a gold car, which actually can fire bullets at you, which can get a little bit annoying, and they can do damage. But thankfully, like I said before, you actually can take more than one hit from those shots. Once again, the planes, or in this case helicopters that are flying over, most of the time go by the sides of the road, so they really don't directly drop bombs on you. Unlike Bayou Billy, you never really have to take your hand off the accelerator. Just hold down that pedal and never let go. You're pretty much only going to slow down if you end up hitting a puddle of oil or water in the road. Thankfully, the levels, since they're so much easier, also seem to go by rather quickly. Once you complete both road stages, we're now in the city of New Orleans. Stage number 6 is probably the hardest level from the original Bayou Billy. However, in Mad City, since the enemies are much easier to take care of, it ends up being a lot easier. The normal enemies of the stage that wear like the blue and the orange Hawaiian looking shirts, pretty much just take them out easily with your stick until you're able to get the whip. They may be able to stab you a few times, seemingly being able to stab you from a really long distance, but they deal so little damage, directly attacking them is still your best bet. You don't even have to worry about using the jump kick if you don't want to during this stage. The giant mace throwing guys take 4 hits to take out, and if you're quick about it, they may not even be able to throw out their mace ball this time, unlike Bayou Billy where it took a lot more hits to take them out. These enemies in Bayou Billy were a godsend because they allowed you to get the whip for the first time. However, you'll find out that while I'm using the whip during this game, it ends up being a little bit weaker and takes more hits to take out enemies than just using the jump kick or the stick. And it may seem odd though, but the guys who try to stab you with the knives can still hit you even at the full length of the whip away. As long as you have a whip, or you can use your jump kick effectively, just mow through these guys without really looking back. You don't really have to be on the defensive like you would be in Bayou Billy, just keep moving forward and you'll be able to get through the level quickly. The guys with the sunglasses are tough again because they can still hit you rather easily with their foot, but they don't do as much damage and they don't hit you as often as they did before. So in Mad City, these guys are even easy. The level also seems to be a bit longer. After you take out the first guy with glasses, you have a couple of normal enemies which you can also get a gun from if you want. The guy with the bulletproof vest is next, and he's actually the boss of the level in Bayou Billy. However, once you take him out and if you want to grab his vest, you then actually move on and have some more guys with the sunglasses. Use your drop kick or your whip or whatever you feel like using at this point, and start draining these guys' health. You have to take on 2 normal guys in just the white shirt before you have to face another guy in the orange shirt with the bulletproof vest again. This guy is actually the final enemy for this stage in this version of the game. Once he's done, be sure to grab the bulletproof vest if you don't have one because you'll need it for the next beat 'em up stage. Stage 7, just like Stage 2, is pretty much unchanged. You'll take out the motorcycle guys to get some items including the red star and the health in this level. The guys are a lot harder to hit in this stage because they move a little bit quicker it seems like, and they love to run behind pillars as well as through windows of houses. However, you have a lot of bullets and a good amount of health, so it isn't too tricky. Though you do want to conserve some of your health if possible because the boss still is pretty tricky because they can deal a lot of damage to you at the end. When you make it to the gated wall, you know you're almost to the end. If you want to, you can destroy the motorcycle guy, and sometimes he'll drop a bulletproof vest to make us invulnerable through the park area right in front of Gordon's mansion. After the vest wears off, just try to take out the few guys that are running behind the fence before you come to the large gate where it's time for the boss battle. Start with your gun on the left side so you can start immediately firing at the guy with the large gun. Just keep firing at him over and over again until you're able to get rid of him. Then, focus on the jumping knife guy. You can deflect the knives right away from the knife guy and he won't actually be able to hurt you. Just keep doing this back and forth until you drain his health and enter the gate for the next level. The second to last level is completely unchanged other than the enemy difficulty. You start off with the guys with the guns. You can use your whip or your jump kick to knock around their guns out of their hands. If you're able to pick up their gun, you can then use it on them in order to instantly take them out. However, you can just keep attacking them normally, and all the bullets that they shoot will just bounce off of you if you kept your bulletproof vest. After them, you then have 3 guys with the sunglasses on and all wearing bulletproof vests. This can be rather annoying and hard to knock their bulletproof vest away, so just keep whipping at them. There will be one guy behind you trying to hit you most of the time, however, as long as you keep dealing damage, he'll barely be able to knock you away. Once he's done, keep the whip or whatever weapon you have, and then try to immediately knock the next guy's vest right off and fire 1 bullet at him to beat him, before he's able to do anything to you and you can move on to the final level. While not having a bulletproof vest or weapon in Bayou Billy is almost a death sentence when it comes to this level, in this version of the game, however, Gordon ends up being an extreme joke. Just walk over to the right side of the screen and start doing your drop kick. If you don't move around, he usually won't jump away, and you can just keep jumping at him and take him out. The strategy for Rocky and Rocco are pretty much the exact same from Bayou Billy, except they're going to go down a lot easier, and you don't have to be as afraid when you mess up your attacks. Sure, they can still grab you and knock you away with their vicious punches, however, their punches do a lot less damage and you won't see your health draining rather quickly. Just do your best to keep running around in a circle and attack when you can, and quickly one of the two will drop. Once you defeated one, just immediately go after the other as long as you have a little bit of health left. Just keep attacking him until he drops and you can enjoy the ending, the Bayou Billy. While the ending remains unchanged, there are actually a couple alternate endings to the game. Now there's only one that's actually significantly different, and it's really not that much of a change, but I will be showing it after the credits. The Adventures of Bayou Billy and Mad City are a pretty unique case in gaming. When Mario 2 was released in Japan, it was deemed too hard for North American audiences and was never released until Super Mario All-Stars. However, North America ended up getting a completely different game. Now, with Mad City of Bayou Billy, they actually took the game from Japan, the easier version, and then made it a heck of a lot harder when making an international release. While Konami may not have had a great hit on their hands, Bayou Billy or Mad City, no matter which version you play, is still an interesting and fun game with multiple different types of gameplay and a fantastic soundtrack. After playing Bayou Billy for so many years in North America, and not really knowing what the Japanese version even was, after playing Mad City for the first few times, I really was disappointed and actually wanted to go back to Bayou Billy because Mad City was so easy, it was actually kind of boring. As the credits wrap up, we get the end screen which signifies the end. However, I did want to show the bad ending to the game. After you defeat Rocky and Rocco and come to Annabelle's rescue, if you actually run around instead of actually letting her hug you, you can actually get the bad ending. They removed this from the North American version, not allowing Bayou Billy to move. While the ending is pretty much the same, other than just having now, instead of Annabelle and Bayou Billy together, we have just Annabelle and some dialogue, and then we have the empty archway instead of the two embracing. Now, of course, unfortunately, I don't know Japanese, so I don't know what the dialogue really is here, but I'm sure it ends up being at least a little bit humorous, for the fact of saving Annabelle and then wanting nothing to do with her. There's also an alternate ending where the dialogue between Annabelle and Bayou Billy is different by holding down some buttons at the end of the game, as well as another bad ending that you actually can get if you actually played all the training stages. And with that, that's going to wrap up this edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.